Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Spider, and welcome back to another review. And today we're taking a look at the Transformers Legacy Deluxe Class Elita-1. This figure released back in 2022 and loosely based on her appearance from the G1 cartoon. Yeah, and this is my second Legacy review and also my second Legacy figure. First one being the Alpha Trion Orion Pax 2-pack. Anyways, to get this review started, we'll take a look at the packaging. So here we have the box. You got a nice image of, I'm just called her RC, of Elita-1 in her vehicle mode, Transformers Legacy, Transformers. On the side, you get a, my camera will focus in. There we go, it's a bit better. You get a lovely image on the side there. On the other side, you get a lovely image of Elita-1, or a couple of images. On the back, you get some pictures of the figure. At the top, you got Transformers Legacy, and on the bottom, you get some dirt. That's gross. Anyways, that's it for the box. Now onto the instructions, which are purple for some reason. I'm used to the Studio Series instructions where they're kind of color-coded, where Decepticons have purple instructions and Autobots have orange instructions. So having an Autobot with purple instructions just doesn't feel right. So you got an image of Lita on the front with her crotch missing from the image. Yeah, it's weird. Like, you can look there, it's in the image, but here it's missing. That's very odd. Anyways, the instructions do, actually a pretty good job of telling you how to transform the figure. Anyways, now we're done with that, on to the figure itself. So, here we have Elita-1 in her vehicle mode. It is packaged as robot, but I'm starting with the car because, well, I want to. So, bring it up close here, and I believe this is supposed to be, like, a theoretical Earth mode for Elita-1. Like, if she had went to Earth with the others in G1, like, this is what her vehicle mode would have looked like. Because it doesn't really look like her G1 vehicle mode, at least what we could see of it. All we really have to go off of is sketches, and it doesn't really look much like this. I think it is supposed to be, like, a theoretical Earth mode. Anyways, we'll bring it in close here and take a look at it. Got a grill, at least I think that's what that is. Got a couple headlights there. Got a nice color scheme of white, pink, and red. You got the rims, side of the vehicle. You got a nice clear, translucent blue windshield. My favorite type of windshield for Transformer figures. The other side, pretty much the same. You got the back with thrusters, I guess, and these pieces are actually very loose. Actually, annoyingly loose. Kind of wish they, like, tabbed in or just clicked in place more securely, because they really don't. That's kind of annoying. And then you got the bottom of the figure, which, yeah, it's basically the whole robot just hanging out down there. But anyways, so yeah, that's the vehicle mode. It's very compact looking. It's very kind of scrunched up. Yeah. I do get the little pink thing at the top, which is supposed to be the top of her head. One of the few things that's actually carried over from her G1 alt mode. And this actually came separate in the box. I really don't know why. There is no reason for it to come separate. There would be no reason for you to want to remove this. It's part of the vehicle mode, and there's no need to remove it for transformation, so I have absolutely no idea why it's removable and why it came separate out of the box. That makes no sense at all. It's also completely unpainted. Yeah, because like I said, this is supposed to be the top of her head, and it's missing quite a few paint apps. In fact, if you look on the front of the box, it is painted. So it's like they knew it's supposed to be painted, but they just didn't. So, yeah, that's kind of annoying, but whatever. So, I don't know if this is just my copy. I really hope it is, but, like, for some reason, I can never get these side bits to line up. Like, if I get this more lined up, then it unaligns the front, or that will untab. And it's just both sides are always unaligned, and it bugs the crap out of me that I can never get that smooth. So again, I really hope that's my copy, but that's really annoying. And also, it's got wheels, so it's doesn't really roll all that well, unfortunately. It's just the wheels just don't spin freely enough for it to roll nicely. It more so just scrapes across whatever surface you're trying to roll it on, which, that's unfortunate. But whatever. Yeah, overall, vehicle mode isn't too bad. You know, it is kind of neat, but it does have a few things that hold it back. You know, the unpainted thing, and just unaligned, and these loose bits back here. Just a few things that kind of bug me that sort of hold that back. The figure also has a couple of accessories, not including the pink thing right there. It comes with 2 Energon guns, which honestly are kind of weird, because like Energon swords make sense, you know, Energon axes, Energon maces, but Energon guns? I don't know, it's just, I don't know about that one. So you get 2 of them, and they are different. You have this blaster, which is loosely based off of her pistol from the original cartoon. And then you have this one, which is based off of Minerva's gun. And there is a reason for that I'll get into later in the video. Yes, you do get 2 distinct blasters, and they both do have a little port tab thingy so you can plug accessory, not accessory, what was the word? You can, blast effects, that's the word, jeez. You can plug in blast effects to them. And also, they can plug into each other in multiple different ways, actually, so you get a few options there, and they can also plug into the vehicle itself. Yes, you can have that look, and again, there are multiple ports throughout the figure, so you can plug them into any of those. And you can also bump the camera. You can also store them onto the back, which doesn't really work because those pieces are really loose. Ugh, annoying. But yeah, so you can do all that. Pretty neat. And I think that's pretty much it for vehicle mode, so on to size comparisons. So, to start things off, as always, here it is with a LEGO minifigure, with the Pack of Destruction minifigure Mothra, and the Pack of Destruction minifigure Godzilla. On to some more relevant size comparisons, here it is with the Universe Energon RC, with the Transformers Buzzworthy Origins Bumblebee. Got a good idea of how that looks. With the Generations RC. With the Generations Orion Packs. And with the Legacy 2-pack Alpha Trion. I would compare it with the Legacy Orion Packs, but I sold off that figure because I really only wanted the Alpha Trion of that 2-pack. And finally, here she is with Transformers Animated Black Arachnia. Just because. Now that we're done with all that, it's measuring time. So we'll get this measuring tape extended like that. And the figure is about 1.5 inches tall and is slightly over 4 inches long. So pretty small deluxe, although that actually might be standard nowadays because it feels like deluxes are just getting smaller and smaller as the days go by. Anyways, that's it for size comparison. Now we can move on to the transformation. Alright, got the camera all adjusted. We can begin transforming the figure. So, first things first, I like to start with the legs, so you just fold those in, and they just click into place, and then you want to separate them from the rest of the body, so you untap that, and then you untap it from there. You just bring them down, do the same thing on the other side. You can just bring it down again, and then you want to separate it, so you just separate them like that, and then you just click into place like that, and then fold that in, and the same on the other side, and then you rotate it at the waist. I guess I could have done that a little later, but yeah, you rotate it at the waist, and there you go. We're pretty much halfway there. Next up, you want to untab the arm. Actually, hang on, let me focus it a little better. Untab that, and then you kind of bend the arm in to unhook it from there. Just sort of bring the arm in. You do the same on the other side, and then you just bring this whole back assembly a little upward, and then you want to untab these side bits from that. Well, that one was a lot easier, wasn't it? And then I'm going to bring this outward and just fold that in. And there is a tab that's supposed to go in there, but it really just kind of rests there. It doesn't tab in, actually, which is unfortunate, because that would have been really nice. Anyways, you take these and bring them up, and then you take this assembly and just set it down, and you just get everything in a natural pose. Rotate the forearm, rotate the wrist, da-da-da. And there you go, you got Elita-1 in her robot. So yeah, it's a very nice and simple transformation, nothing too tricky or frustrating going on there. Although these bits can kind of bump into the shoulder because it's got a little thing that popped up there. But other than that, it ain't too bad. Alrighty, now we can move on to the figure's articulation. So, she does have a ball joint at the head, but due to the way the head is sculpted, you can't really utilize it all that much. Like you try to get it side to side, it just doesn't want to. You can get it to look down ever so slightly, but it kind of just wants to go back up. Can't look up at all. Really, all you can do is just make it look side to side, which is very disappointing, especially on a figure this modern. That should not have been an issue. Really should have worked on that. That's very frustrating. Anyways, shoulders because we can get that out of the way. Can go that far up, because that little thing on the shoulder kind of gets in the way. Arms can go all the way around. That thing really gets in the way. My goodness. So yeah, the shoulder pylon pad things do kind of get in the way of the arm articulation. Get a nice bicep rotation. You get a very nice single bend at the elbow. Actually, very nice range for a single bend. Rotation at the wrist, which is nice. You get rotation at the waist, which is nice. Legs can kick that far forward. Can't really kick much back. Can do a pretty decent split. You get a thigh rotation. You get 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And the ankles. Oh, the ankles you only have an ankle tilt, but it's not on a normal joint. It like clicks into place, so it's a friction joint. So after a certain point, it just gets really loose, and it just clicks into place like that, and there's no up or down or anything. I'm just gonna say the ankles just suck. This is not a good design at all, because it makes it kind of hard to pose the figure. And also in vehicle mode, they are super loose, and so they just dangle off the back. And so, yeah, these are not very well designed at all, and make it difficult getting her into certain poses. Like, getting her in a kneeling position is not easy at all. So yeah, those ankles, I don't know what they were thinking with that, but yeah, not good. Not good. Also, this isn't really a dig at the articulation itself, but the legs are pretty loose, and they kind of came out of the box like that, so yeah, they're kind of floppy. That sort of sucks. Also, the knee assembly can kind of come undone a little bit. It hasn't been too much of a problem so far, but that can be annoying to some people, so yeah, there are quite a few annoyances when it comes to the articulation of this figure, but you can still get it into a few good poses. Anywho, now we can move on to the details. So actually, I keep forgetting. I got a zoom button. Keep forgetting to do that, so I keep trying to bring the figure in close. But anyways, take a look at the face, and I gotta say that this is actually a very nice face sculpt. You got some nice lips. You got the eyes, which are painted very nice. You got this nice metallic blue color, which really make the eyes kind of, makes them feel life-full. Makes you look not dead, is what I'm trying to say. I would have preferred if it was light piping instead, but this does not look bad at all. And you do get some paint. You get the silver and yellow for that thing on her forehead, the two little antennas on the sides of her head. This is what I was talking about. You got all this paint on the top of her head, then you got that thing, which is supposed to be the top of her head, and it ain't got none of that paint. What's up with that, Hasbro? Anyways, you get this teeny tiny little Autobot symbol on her collar. Get some nice red there. You get the forearm. It's nice. You got the hand. Both hands are in a fist. You got that crotch that was mysteriously missing in the instructions. Don't know what was up with that. And there's also a new color that is introduced in the robot mode. You get the more of this sort of raspberry color. I mean, I guess the feet were sort of there on the back of the vehicle mode, but it was just on the back, whereas now it's kind of sprinkled throughout. You got the shoulders, on the thighs there, on the knees. So it's kind of neat. Speaking of the legs, got those designs. You got the inside of the leg, which is kind of filled out by this piece that folds in, kind of covers that gappiness. That is very nice. I mean, I'm not really one who cares about gaps in legs, but I know a lot of people do. So that's very nice that they engineered that. You got the feet. You can plug some stuff into them. Which, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you can plug in some like blast effects so you can make it look like she's zipping around in her vehicle mode. You got the back, which the backpack is, it is there, but it's not too bad, and it doesn't throw off the figure's balance much at all. So that's neat. You get, I think, maybe a piston or something? Not entirely sure what that's supposed to be. In the back of the legs. And while we're at the back, there is actually quite a few different configurations you can do with this back assembly, because there's the default one. This is the one you're supposed to have the figure at, but there's a couple others you can do as well. We'll zoom out for this. There's this one where you don't really transform it at all and just kind of leave it one solid piece, which does consolidate the backpack, but I just think it makes it look a little too big and too wide. I'm not really a fan of this one. And then there's this one where you kind of fold them down so they sit over the shoulders like that. Doesn't look too bad, I suppose. And then finally we have this configuration where you can completely fold them in like that. And that actually doesn't look too bad. Of all the fan configurations I've seen so far, this one is my favorite. It actually looks pretty sleek. I like that. But me personally, I have no problem with just leaving these things in the position they're supposed to be in. I don't really mind all that much. So overall, the design is pretty neat. I do like the look of it. And I do think they did a very good job of meshing the blockiness of, the typical G1 design, but also keeping it looking somewhat feminine, So it's got the nice blocky look, but it also still looks like a fembot, Because some fembot designs are just a straight-up human woman. It's like, how does that turn into a car? Where are the car parts? Where'd they all go? So I do think this is a very good mesh of those two aspects. It does look, it does have a feminine look to it, but it also has got the nice blockiness of the G1 character design. So that is quite nice. They did a good job with that. My only real issue with this figure is that this is one of those figures where Hasbro had multiple characters in mind when they designed it. So initially this is basically a fusion of Elita-1 and Minerva, which is a character from Transformers Headmasters, I think, which is why one of her guns is the accessories for this, because this would eventually be repainted and made into a Minerva figure, which I'm not a big fan of when Hasbro does that, when they make multiple figures in one figure. I get why they do it, but I really don't love it when they do, because to me, it just makes it so that they can't really commit to any one unique design. They have to incorporate multiple different design concepts into one figure, and so there's going to be some compromises when it comes to leaning one design or the other, and I don't like that. I really would have wished if this was just, allowed to just be Elita-1 instead of having to be Minerva and maybe even Strong Arm. I don't know if they came up with that idea later, or if they had that in mind when they were designing this, because yeah, this got repainted into Strong Arm as well. So yeah, I don't know. I really wish this could have just been allowed to simply be Elita instead of having to be like two other figures at once, because when you look at it, especially in the robot mode, it really just does look like Minerva, but with an Elita head on it. It just, yeah, that's kind of annoying. That's really my biggest gripe with the design of the figure, is that it's not just allowed to simply be one character. It's got to be multiple, so that they can, reuse this mold over and over again and really get their money out of it. Which, again, like I said, I understand why they do it, but that doesn't mean I gotta love it. But other than that, the ankles does suck. But yeah. But that's more like articulation design-wise. But like the look of the figure, like it doesn't look bad at all. I just do wish it was allowed to be more just Elita. Anywho, we can move on to the accessories. Obviously, you got those guns we mentioned earlier, and she can hold them in both hands. Excuse me. So you can have Elita. Excuse me, I got something in my throat, and it is not going away. So my voice is going to sound a little hoarse for a minute here. Yeah, you got Elita ready for battle. And the only thing I think that could improve this is if the guns were colored. I wish these were fully painted instead of just being translucent blue plastic. They got painted for Minerva. What couldn't you paint them for Elita, huh? What's up with that? I don't know. Other than that, they do look cool. And also, of course, you got the ports all over the body, so you can plug them in wherever. My favorite alternate thing is that there's ports at the bottom of her forearms, so you can plug them in like that. And you can have that look going, and that looks really cool. I'm a really big fan of the underarm gun look, and that's pretty sick. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about when it comes to this figure. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, on to size comparisons, part 2. So, to start once again, Lego minifigure, Pack of Destruction Mothra, Godzilla. On to more relevant size comparisons. Here it is with Energon RC, Origins Bumblebee. They do look nice together. Look at them. Oh, mother and son. Anyways, Generations RC. See, it's only just a little shorter than that one. Generations Ryan Pax. Legacy Alpha Trion. Animated Black Arachnia. And then finally, the previous review, the Lego Star Wars Plo Koon Jedi Starfighter Microfighter. Now that we're done with all that, measuring time again. So we can see that she is basically 5 inches tall. So pretty standard modern deluxe. So that is pretty much it for Legacy Deluxe Elita-1, and overall, she's pretty good, but there is a few things that hold her back. Just the vehicle mode being, having some issues there, and just the ankles, those ankles, they really do affect the posability of the figure. I mean, just getting her into this pose was kind of difficult, just because of the way the ankles and even the feet are designed. They just, I don't know who okayed that ankle design, but I don't care much for you at this moment. But yeah, it's like this, and it does kind of suck because this figure has the potential to be a really solid, fun toy, but there are just some things here and there that do hold it back, and so, yeah, it's like I want this figure to be good, but it's not. It's just pretty good because of the imperfections, but yeah, but I still think it is worth a pickup if you are a fan of this character. And if you wanted this for yourself, it's not in stores anymore, but on eBay it's going for around 25 to 30 bucks, which, honestly, that's not really that bad for aftermarket prices, but it's only been a few years, so give it time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Hope you all enjoyed, and see you later. Sayonara. Bye.